Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Argos Zenith versus ZZiLook here on Steps of War. Here we have ZZiLook spawning as the blue Terran player on the south side of the map. Meanwhile, we have Argos Zenith spawning over here on the north side of the map here on Steps of War. Should be a good game. Argos Zenith sent me the game saying that it was pretty interesting. I did ask him to send me some high action games where he loses as well, and after that he sent me this game, so I don't know if he's going to win or if he's going to lose, but should be an interesting game nonetheless here on Steps of War. Now, Steps of War is one of those small maps. It's a small map with only 2 spawning locations and a rather small running distance between these 2 locations. We already see now a supply depot going to be thrown down by the Terran player over here, the blue Terran player. Meanwhile, back over here, Argos Zenith did the extractor trick. Now sitting at 11/10 food. We'll be training up an overlord in just a moment. There we go, now training up that overlord and going to be sitting on a fair amount of minerals for quite some time as he masses up more and more minerals. Back over here, we now see that supply depot will be completed and most likely a barracks will be placed down right here. Perhaps a tech lab will be used in order to complete that wall in. And no, we're going to have a barracks already being thrown down, and now in comes this drone. The drone was trying to go after this SCV for a little bit, but now instead just wandering around on the inside of the base trying to get as much sight and information. Still looking around on the inside over here, and it does not look like we see, no, is it going to be one SCV? An SCV is trying to sit in that position, trying to deny any sort of a retreat for this drone. I do not see a refinery being placed down. There we go, finally have a refinery being placed down. He still has his minerals, so he will lose those once he goes into that refinery, and this drone still wandering around on the inside of the space trying to get as much sight as possible. Back over here, we now see the SCV walking up this ramp. We do have the extractor currently being completed along with the spawning pool as well, so it was extractor before a spawning pool, which indicates to me that he wants to get that metabolic boost a little bit earlier than normal. Now this one SCV still sitting over here, sitting idle, as we have a Marine now being trained up out of this barracks, and now we have the extractor being placed down. So Argos Zenith now denying gas over here at this Vespian geyser. We have one SCV trying to take it down. That SCV will not really be able to do anything there. We have now one Marine making its way over, and ZZiLook has not upgraded to an orbital command yet. A little bit surprised by that. Still continuing to train up more and more SCVs. So now finally throwing down a supply depot here now, and perhaps we will see a refractory in just a moment as well. Currently supply locked at 19/19 as 2 Marines try to take down this extractor. Back over here, we do see some Zerglings now being produced, metabolic boost now being trained, and another extractor still being built over here, constantly getting built and then canceled. So Argos Zenith may not be able to continue to build this. You can see that one SCV giving it a little bit more damage than the health is currently regenerating. So down to about 20 hit points now, and now still doing that even further. So Argos Zenith doing a great job just constantly denying any additional gas. You can see that the Terran player is now starting to build up a larger and larger cache of minerals. And what he's going to be doing, he's just continuing to throw down more the factory, the SCVs, and the Marines. A 3rd Marine now going to be able to make its way over, and with that DPS will be able to take down that extractor with no real problem. Back over here, the factory is going to be completed in just a second. There we go. The factory completed as we have a refinery now being placed down. Are we going to get a tech lab, or are we going to start training Hellions is the question. Zerglings, however, we're trying to put pressure on this front door, but enough Marines are now showing up so that those Zerglings will not be able to take down any of these supply depots. We now have a starport being placed down. So ZZiLook now going for a starport, which I'm a little bit surprised about. He did not get this gas early enough, so it may be fairly difficult for ZZiLook to get any sort of Banshee play. He may just be trying to produce Vikings, but normally Vikings, you want to get a reactor and then throw it down so you can double train those units. And now one Zergling able to run by into this place as this front door supply depot was lowered. However, just getting a couple of quick sight there, does see that the starport has been completed. We now have a hatchery, so Argos Zenith sitting on a very, very small army, only 75 units, and now trying to train up more and more Marines. We do have 1 Hellion and 4 Marines, and now throwing down a tech lab. So it does look like the Terran player is going for Banshees, which is quite a surprise. As long as Argos Zenith gets enough queens, he will be able to hold it off, and he already has 2 queens. Maybe perhaps if he gets a 3rd queen, as now a Roach Warren going to be joining in on this army. Still curious as to why ZZiLook is not upgrading to an orbital command. Does he plan on upgrading to a planetary fortress at some time? That doesn't really make that much sense, as now we have a Banshee being trained up, so it's going to be Banshees and Hellions with Marine support. We do have Zerglings now just scampering out about and now trying to take down these high rocks over here. By taking down these high rocks, it makes this low ground expansion much more exposed, as this location can be flanked, especially since this is a high ground position, so the Terran player would be forced to put any supply depots or units on this high ground in order to be able to fend that attack off. We do have this Banshee now nearing completion. A second Banshee should be trained up in just a moment, as we are also getting the cloaking research. So the cloaking research still needs about 70 units of time as that's going to be completed. More Hellions still being trained. One Zergling getting toasted right there by that Marines and those Hellions here, so not much is going to be happening. Taking a look, Argos Zenith currently producing some Roaches, so 4 Roaches now being trained up, as a second Banshee also being trained as well. That Banshee over here may just get free kills on these Zerglings. No, not going for those free kills. Instead, going over to the Xel'Naga Watchtower perhaps to try to take down the Zergling. No, gonna leave that Zergling at that Xel'Naga Watchtower as well. So these queens need to be trained. Another queen now being trained up as well. We should be seeing this Banshee coming in just a moment. This queen down over here should be able to throw those acid spines in just a moment and try to take down this Banshee. So in comes this queen getting a couple of quick shots off that Banshee, using that attack move ability, trying to get as many kills. Already getting 3 drone kills there, so recouping its minerals cost, and now moved out some Roaches. So the Roaches now moving out. However, with one Banshee with Cloak, that Banshee will be able to deal a lot of significant damage towards these units here, and those Roaches will be forced to scurry back. Not quite sure why the Banshee decided to cloak in this particular instance. Obviously, the Roaches cannot attack back over here. This one Banshee, however, not cloaking. So cloaking the wrong Banshee, as this one Banshee going to run out of energy. Perhaps the Hellions are going to be able to start splashing more and more damage on top of these Roaches. Once again, Hellions now getting taken down as well, but these Marines will be able to finish this off. We have one Banshee that does not have enough energy any longer, and going to try to put into some pressure over here. We do have one queen. That queen does have a very, very fast attack rate, so that queen should be able to start shooting down at that Banshee. The Banshee already down to 95 hit points, and now going after these drones. Needs to get more kills than just this. Now going after 2 kills, and now that Banshee down to 23 hit points. Will it be enough to be able to get taken down? Those queens trying to chase, but there's not enough creep over here, and will not be able to continue to chase. We still have the Zerglings just finishing these rocks over here. So these rocks have been taken down. Zerglings will be able to run by here. We do have the Terran player currently sitting on 1 base right now. Taking a look at the harvester count, 900 for Argos Zenith. Meanwhile, the Terran player is sitting at 1,000. There is a 10 harvester difference. However, the mule able to allow him to mine much more quickly, as now we have a Raven joining in on this army. So we have a siege tank, well, just a 1-1-1 build so far, with this command center being built on this high ground. This Banshee over here sitting at 5 hit points may try to go after some Zerglings. No, not going to go after those. Actually will go after those Zerglings, but those Zerglings with that very, very fast movement speed will be able to escape the black backlash rockets of that Banshee. So now that Banshee sitting over here, perhaps we'll get some SCVs in order to repair. Siege tanks still being trained. 2 SCVs now making their way over, and a Raven joining the army in order to make sure that there is no burrowed Roach play. You can see currently the production tab, 8 more drones. So Argos Zenith just continuing to power drone, and you're going to see this number of harvesters jump from 41, much higher. Actually already jumped. You can take a look at the harvester count, 42 harvesters now compared to 33, as he just tries to saturate more and more of this mineral. One Zergling over here trying to take down this SCV, will be able to take it down. Down it goes, and now going after this one SCV over here, and now that Marine being forced to pull back. However, Marines in a bunker able to take that down. So Argos Zenith now with a couple spine crawlers continuing to just try to use more and more of that spawn larva ability. You can see larva is still being masked up. Argos Zenith sitting on about 200-300 minerals at this time. I do not see a spire quite yet, so with no spire, it looks like we are going to get a drop into play in just a moment. So now we do see a spire being positioned over here. The ventral sacks have not been researched, so never mind, no drop. As a freshly repaired Banshee going to move out, now being cloaked, it will be forced to decloak. However, Argos Zenith does not have any no, sorry, he does have an Overseer, so that Overseer will reveal that Banshee. That Banshee now taking double attacks from these 2 queens, and will not be able to push that easily. So in move these 2 queens. The 2 queens now just trying to shoot back over here. Banshee being forced to pull back once again, and the Overseer does have that movement upgrade now, so we'll be able to keep up with that Banshee with really no issue whatsoever. We do see some siege tanks, and now a Thor joining the army. I do not see any weapons upgrades on any of the Marines or any of the siege tanks, any of the mech. So this Overseer just catching sight of this Banshee sitting here, now gonna continue to give chase. However, that Overseer following that Banshee may get shot down by these Marines. So yeah, Marines quickly coming in, going to take down that one Overseer. Overseer down to 51 hit points, and splat, there it goes, following a Banshee. never play follow the leader against an opponent, but we do have the burrow research now being researched by Argos Zenith, so we may have burrowed roach play. So the investment in an early Raven will be able to pay off a lot, as this Banshee now once again tries to move out and tries to engage this Banshee down to 62 energy. However, there is no Overseer here. Taking a look at the larva count, we still have a decent amount of larva, 5-8 larva. We have another Overseer in position as well, so that Overseer able to catch sight on that Banshee. Once again, that Banshee for some reason cloaking, not quite sure why, as that Banshee is going to pull back. We do have more Marines coming out. The Marines going to shoot down Argos' Zenith's Overseer. Once again, no, not going to be able to shoot it down, as that Overseer has a movement speed of 2.75. Those Marines needed the stim in order to get closer here. We do have a couple of Zerglings here, and now Argos Zenith taking this high ground. So this looks to be just a large game of Sim StarCraft. Both players just trying to build a very strong economy, a very strong army. Both sides not engaging just quite yet. So taking a look at the army combination, really the Terran player sitting at 2250 versus Argos Zenith is 1150. Not exactly sure what he's trying to do at this stage. He should be able to push out with this very, very strong army. He does have Ravens, he does have Marines, Medevacs, and Siege Tanks in position. One Banshee just trying to do harassment is not a very good utilization of your superior army. So 2400 versus 1275. And yeah, he does have the superior army, but he's not engaging with it, even though he outnumbers his opponent's army 2-1. There is also not that much static defense, only 2 spine crawlers. However, there are a good number of banelings now joining out. We do have the movement upgrade for those banelings now being researched, in addition to neuroparasites. So infestor play may be coming in just a moment. Yeah, we do already have 2 additional infestors. Siege Tanks blasting away at these banelings. The banelings have 30 hit points, so the Siege Tank's able to splash them down very quickly. We do have one Overseer now gaining sight on this Banshee and this Medevac. Over here, not much really happening, as both sides just sitting in their base, perhaps waiting for the other player to make some sort of mistake. We have one SCV. The SCV is not on auto repair, even though there's a Hellion that needs some repairing. We have Roaches currently burrowed here. However, that Raven will be able to gain sight of them in just a moment as soon as that Raven moves out with the rest of that army. So that Raven also has, and that point defense drone will be able to intercept some of the attacks on any Hydralisks that are produced. I do not see any Mutalisks currently in play, so that point defense drone not going to be that effective. Perhaps he'll try to go for that auto turret instead. We have another hatchery being placed down over here by Argos. However, that will quickly get taken down by a couple Marines off of this medevac. No, not unloading it, so not exactly sure. We do have one Baneling that was rolling up to the Zelnaga watchtower here, and now we have one Overlord suiciding into this position. So a lot. I believe these SCVs are currently stuck back here, unless there's enough room. Yeah, there's enough room right there. And now another Overlord sacrificing himself into this position here. One Banshee now getting trying to engage on these Overlords. There is one Baneling there. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Argos Zenith and ZZiLook here on Steps of War.